how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about the second episode of Spice and Wolf, the 2024 remake. So, why did I think about the second episode of Spice and Wolf so far? I think that this episode was great. I think it was, once again, very faithful to the original anime as well as the light novel, and there wasn't that many differences that I saw between the two parallels. If anything, I think that, like I said, this adaptation thus far, for any old Spice and Wolf fan, has been a great adaptation up to this point. Now, before I go any further with this week's episode, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Spice and Wolf as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off where we pretty much see that, Lawrence and Holo, they both wake up, and we see pretty much that, they started their journey already, and we see that they're about to enter another town. And while that's happening, Lawrence is like, hey, wake up, and you see Holo stretching. Is funny. And she's like, hey, you might want to start like heading out now. And Lawrence is like, why is that? Is like, because rain is coming. You see, I have good intuition. I can smell, I can predict what's gonna happen. My ears are good, that I can hear people's lies. I can tell when someone's lying, as well as I can predict like good fortune. So Lawrence leaves, and then they go to this town, and they're covering Holo's face because you can't just show the ears. Everybody would think she's like a demonic possession or something. So they get into this town, and then Lawrence, he's like, okay, let's go and meet up with pretty much let's look around this place. But they're all soaking wet, so of course they take their clothes off, and we get a lot of nice cultured scenes, to say the least, involving both Holo and Lawrence. And I'm just gonna say, she's called Holo the wise wolf. I personally call her Holo the hot wolf, because I mean we saw Holo, all right. We saw every inch of Holo in this week's episode, to say the least, and I enjoyed it. But pretty much what happens is, Lawrence is also like taken back by Holo's beautiful nature, to say the least. And we see that he's like, okay, you're okay, you're wet, I get it. And then she starts like talking to Lawrence back, and you see that she's like, I like your little beard, you look cute. And he's like, really? I like it, like his little goatee. And he's like, but I like my beard like covered everywhere. And he's like, oh man, that sucks. So guys, I can't grow a full beard. I feel your pain, okay? I feel it. But pretty much after that, we see that Lawrence goes to he's inside of this inn, but they're like, okay, let's go look around. And they eventually like stumble upon this couple, and I guess one of the people, this guy that he's talking to, he's like a lord or something, and higher in the food chain when it comes to like wealthy people. He's a lord, I suppose. And Lawrence starts talking to him and chit-chatting, and what pretty much he's doing is he's trying to get in the guy's good sense, because you always want to network with people. You always want to get to know more people, so more clients, and therefore just a bit increase your business in general. That's life. That's just life in general. Like life advice when it comes to making your own business decisions and why not. And while that's happening, we see that eventually this guy pops out. I think his name was Zeron or something like that. And we see that he's like a rocky merchant, and he's trying to like sweet talk Lawrence, so he can join, so he can make a deal with him, and quick scheme money kind of thing. It's revolving around like coins, how their old coins are circulating, but the new coins are the current coins. They're about to be replaced by new coins, and they're trying to they're trying to make profits by speculating in the market. In other words, similar to like stocks or any kind of hobby or collectible, when people try to buy it out, and hopefully in the future it goes in price. That's what they're trying to do. And what pretty much happens is like Holo's like, hey, do you really trust this guy? And Lawrence is like, yeah, I mean, like, why wouldn't he? And then Holo starts explaining, like, I'm very good at lying. I know that guy was lying. I don't know what exactly he was lying about, but he's definitely lying. And Lawrence just pretty much tells her like, hey, let's just see how things play out, because either way, if it's a win-win for me. Like, I'm not gonna lose really money at all, because I'm not gonna invest on it until I know what the whole thing is. So let's just see how this plays out. And Holo's like, okay, can I eat now? And Holo's about to eat, and he cuts her from eating. He's like, no, I need your help. And they talk, and it's sweet, because as Lawrence starts talking to Holo, Holo starts calling him like a young guy, like a young kid, even though Lawrence has like a little goatee and all that. He's like a young adult, quote unquote, because I believe he's 18 at this point in the story, 18 or 20 or something like that. And we pretty much see that she's patting his head. It's cute, just cute little moments between the two of them. And as the episode continues, we see that Holo the next morning wakes up. Lawrence wakes up as well, and Lawrence is in the shock to see Holo next to a priest, somebody from the church, and he's like, "Oh no, did I get exposed? What's happening?" And pretty much what Holo goes up to, like, Lawrence is like, "Priest, no, please, my husband, will you wish me good luck for some food?" Or it's typical Holo fashion, just fun. And she's pretty much just saying like, I went there just to hear their little like stories. I find them amusing. And Lawrence is like, well, like, were there not churches when you were around? It's like, not as many as now. And she starts explaining like, like back then, like, there was no such thing as one God that created everything, because there's no such thing as that. She starts saying, she's like, like, there's different entities and all that. And, like, nobody created this, like the earth that we created. Not a single being was able to make that. And she's talking about how she finds it, incredibly amusing how, in the hundreds of years that she's been gone, and she like comes back and sees all these churches praising one single God. So that's very crazy to her, and also makes her feel like, she's out of time, she's out of touch. And, it's been a while. And, Lawrence is like, it's okay. Like, because she's like, no matter how much time passes, I'll always be the same me. And Lawrence just kind of like reassures her, like, okay, you're cool. No matter how time passes, you'll be fine too. And then they proceed on their journey. And as they're driving away in their wagon and whatnot, we see that pretty much Lawrence starts talking about like, about their business. And he pretty much brings up like, you're a wolf. And they have this whole discussion where, she's like, hey, have you ever been attacked by wolves? And he's like, yeah, I have. And we see a flashback of Lawrence in a different, like, in a couple of years back, where some merchants were with him, and I guess they got attacked by wolves. And we see that that's why he doesn't really like wolves. And she starts saying like, the difference, like, it's like why wolves even chase humans and eat them is because they want to eat their heads and gain their power. At least that's from, I'm telling you, Lawrence. And Lawrence is like, shut up, like, stop it. And she keeps pursuing it, like, she keeps pushing the button about the wolves and whatnot, until eventually Lawrence snaps. He's like, hey, shut up. Like, in, it, like, Holo's taken back. She's like, whoa, like, where did that come from? Because Lawrence has always been a very composed, chill guy, but even you keep pushing somebody, they're gonna snap eventually, And throughout the rest of the journey that we see in this week's episode, they're kind of like at odds towards the end of the episode, where it's pretty quiet, very like awkward. And you see even Holo, like, she knows that she messed up because she touched a touchy subject, And eventually, Holo starts explaining to Lawrence how, pretty much the reason that the dogs and wolves are so different is because, wolves have always lived alongside humans. So, they've always been nice and kind. While on the other hand, wolves have been in the wild, and humans have always tried to chase them and kill them. So that's why there's like a disdain towards by wolves towards humans, because that's all they know humans for, like trying to kill them. And Lawrence is like, has that ever happened to you? She's like, I'm not gonna answer that. Like, let's not talk about that. And pretty much the episode ends where they kind of make up. They kind of like, Holo's like, it's okay, we'll be fine. And he even apologizes, like, I'm sorry if I push your buttons too. And there's some reassurance in this relationship. And then we see towards the end of the episode where pretty much they both are going to sleep, and we see like by the wagon, and you see Holo just telling Lawrence like, hey, we live in two different worlds. Like, that's the deal. Like, I'm sorry, that at the end of the day, you're a human, I'm a wolf. Our perspectives on life are different. And they kind of just end a little somber note, a little bit of tension in this week's episode. But yeah, overall, I thought this week's episode was great. I think it was great development towards Holo and Lawrence's relationship, which is, to me, the main key of this series as a whole, from the original anime and in this new remake as well, where I think that they have consistently kept that relationship going, where it feels natural, and I'm really, really like it. Especially Holo. I'm just saying, seeing Holo naked, it was great. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you say it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Spice and Wolf, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.